not for living. When you choose career for life, you enjoy every second, every minute of your involvement. Sometimes you are called to duty in a perceived or seemingly discomforting time. But as a professional who have chosen your career for life, you'll be excited. I have been called out of parties sometime, and my colleagues just saw that I disappeared. I was excited to leave a bubbling party, December party, you know, for psychotherapy. So that is the way it is. So essentially, these are what I have to do now. I thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. My question is to Mrs. Abdullahi Ewebi. What are the subjects that students need to take to actually go into your line of profession? Mrs. Ewebi. Okay, I think she's currently not here at the moment. I'm going to ask Mrs. Adedoyin.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, she's here. Okay, all right.
Here. Okay, so thank you. So I would, for junior secondary school, I would recommend sacrosanct, like Dr. Mustafa said, mathematics and English. Very important. You must know your sums to be able to add up the figures. English for proper communication and social intelligence. I would say fine arts, so you can get your drawings very well. I would also recommend home economics, because there's a bit of home economics that provides for knowledge in sewing and tailoring. So those 4 subjects very important when you move to senior secondary. Maybe intro tech, because I mean I don't know if you're aware, fashion designing also has to do with patterns as well. Intro tech prepares you for that. I mean, I only started to enjoy that bit of it when I started making patterns. I didn't know how influential intro tech was going to be until I started doing the pattern making. So those subjects.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, when you mentioned intro tech, my twin actually did a short course in pattern making, and I remember she did intro tech in school, but to a certain level, and decided she was not going to continue with it. But I think that helped. Another thing that helped was also maths, because I know that there's a lot of calculations, there are a lot of things that you need to do to get your patterns. You're going to rule, you're going to measure. So maths that children run away from in school. At the end of the day, it's actually very vital for something as sewing a dress or sewing anything. You still need that math. And Dr. Mustafa has mentioned it. You have also mentioned it, and Ms. Adedeji has also. Look, I've not asked Ms. Ade, but Dr. Mustafa and yourself, you have also mentioned the importance of math subjects. Yes, Mr. Ayodeji also mentioned the importance of math subjects. So I'd like to ask Mr. Adedoyin, what are the subjects? What subjects are important that the children must take before they can actually enter into this profession? That's being a wellness therapist and a beauty consultant. And is math really important for this area? I'm really curious to know.
Okay. At the entry assessment, we depend on the society. Every nation, every government have their own prerequisite, okay, for entry. But I'm the proprietress of Learning Beauty Institute, and government approved. Okay, based on the government, especially Lagos State, even federal recommendation. Okay, math and English. I'm not going to, because it's very wide. So let me just speak the vocations that is combined. For a beauty therapist, you will need sciences, especially biology. Biology, okay, and the chemistry, because you will be interfacing with cosmetics. You will be analyzing cosmetics ingredients. So science is important because you are going to learn anatomy. Biology is very important under beauty therapy because human anatomy. Your knowledge of human anatomy is very important. Which is a unit in beauty therapy. Human is very important to fitness. Okay, so beauty therapy and wellness therapy needs at least 2 science subjects, biology and chemistry. We prioritize that. And maths and English. Okay. So for hairdressing, art students, may do well in hairdressing, especially hair crafting. Art students will do well in hair crafting. Okay. So, but a cosmetologist now referring to hairdressing that is thinking of including hair and scalp management. Okay, we also need chemistry and we also need biology. Okay, so that is simply put, is wider than that, but for the purpose of time. Okay, now, but what I will say here is that you don't need to be a C, you don't need to be a credit student in these sciences to come into my vocation. You don't need to have a C. So you just need to have a fair knowledge of sciences, because the sciences there usually, at least, they are elementary sciences, like atom and molecule, like basic human system, human anatomy, you understand? Like compounding, factors affecting the risk of reaction, 3 states of matters, and all of that. So those are still from three GSS chemistry. GSS sciences. Now, finally, to rise to skincare management and consultation, okay, you will need good knowledge in the sciences. The elementary sciences may not be enough. Then you also need some social courses like business study. They don't do business study again now, but business study. Okay, I think that is it. But the entry usually is at diploma level. You don't become a beauty consultant at entering into the beauty industry. You don't start by studying beauty consultancy. No. Okay, you don't even start by studying wellness therapy. No. The entry level at diploma level is beauty therapy, which is the main program. Okay, and hairdressing and hair and scalp management, main program. Beauty journalism, main program. It is after you have gained expertise in the startup entry that you now progress. You now progress to becoming an advanced holder in the beauty industry.
Thank you, Mrs.
Have I said that?
Yes. You mentioned the last thing you mentioned. You actually mentioned that you don't go direct to becoming a consultant. You have to. There are certain levels. There are things you have to do first before you get there. My next question flows from what you just mentioned. What are the routes? What are the post-secondary school routes to getting into your profession? What are those things, those levels, the routes? Okay. How does one get to that particular point?
Post-secondary route means that the person will be studying one program or the other, maybe at tertiary level. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes. That's
what
I mean.
A nurse will do well. A nurse will do well in beauty therapy, for instance. A nurse will do very well. A doctor will do well in wellness therapy. The doctors will do well in wellness therapy. a teacher will do well in anybody in the area of arts. Anybody in the area of arts will do well in hairdressing, hair and scalp, management. Anyone that is in social sciences, anybody that is in the social sciences, for instance, we do well in consultation and retail opportunity. So every vocation, the long and short of this is that every profession have a space in the beauty industry. Every profession, be you a psychologist, be you a teacher, be you a physical, a physical education, graduate, be you whatever, be you business administrator, you will find your link in the beauty industry. There is always that which you have learned, which you have, even home economics, even secretarial study. Everybody will have an exception. There is hardly any profession, any industry that comes into the beauty industry that will not have an exception. There will be something about what you have learned or what you are doing presently, okay, that you will be exempted from. That is related to what you want to do. Am I making sense?
Yes, yes, you're making sense. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'd like to ask Dr. Mustafa the same questions. What are the routes? What path does one need to follow to actually become a psychologist? I don't know if you started off to read psychology. I didn't get that part. I think you mentioned OAU. Did you decide, okay, I want to be a psychologist, or did you start reading a particular course and then you now moved on to psychology, or was psychology the foundation? Did it start from there, sir? Okay, I think I have lost Dr. Mustafa. He's not here at the moment. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Abdullahi. So Mrs. Abdullahi, I know that your own story, you didn't go straight into fashion. I know that you have mentioned that you actually did different things before you came to this point that you're going to have the fashion house. So can you explain to the students as in the route you took to get there, or if there's actually a structured route that one can take post-secondary school to becoming a fashion entrepreneur? Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, there is a route. There's a process. The courses being served in higher institutions. I would recommend students who are interested take courses in the different courses to take when you get to the higher institution. By higher institution, I mean university or polytechnic. I recommend strongly Yabatech. Yabatech is currently, they're well equipped to provide knowledge on fashion designing, textiles and apparels, garments making. Fashion also has to do with knowing your colors, knowing styles, knowing fabrics. So they offer those courses in higher institutions. So it's important to know that their fashion designing courses, their tailoring courses, their garment making courses available in higher institutions. Yabatech, to be very precise. There are other schools, but I went to Yabatech for a 3-month course. And then there are also other vocational schools like Mrs. Adedoyin, thank you very much. Like Mrs. Adedoyin's training centers. So we have Lagos licensed training centers as well that offer courses that help build you into fashion designing and garment making. I would also recommend strongly that anyone who wants to open a fashion outfit should also work as an apprentice first. We're very quick to want to start big, but even the Holy Book says, despise not the days of little beginnings. Even though I had worked in the corporate world for over 17 years, I still went to serve in a fashion house. I did my 6 months in a fashion house. It helps because it helps you understand the process from start to finish. It's not just about sewing the dress and giving the customer. You need to understand body types. You need to understand what the customer needs. I mean, you must understand your sums. If you don't know how to calculate, you would, you know, not just for making money now. I mean, the bit about the body type. You know, somebody might be a plus size. You may be big. You may be heavy in your tummy and smaller in your lower body. You know, you need to understand those details, how to connect those measurements together into making a well-fitted dress. You need to be able to speak to people because it's also a social kind of career. You need to be able to speak to people. You need to appear confident. You know, so serving in a fashion house as an apprentice helps to understand the structures, also the behavioral patterns of tailors, because you're going to be working with different kinds of tailors and being able to put them together, because most tailors that we find here in Nigeria, and I'm speaking from experience, are local tailors. So they just want to make the dress and move on. Sometimes they can use pink thread to make a white dress. It doesn't matter to them as long as it's stitched, you know. So you need to be able to understand how to work with them to achieve, you know, success. What else? The courses online, you know, but I would recommend that you first go through the physical trainings, the schooling, before you do those courses online. The courses online, you can specify, you can decide to specialize in ashoke making, bead making, the different aspects of fashion designing that you can, but I mean, start first from get education. Thank you. I hope I have answered that question.
Yes, you have answered the question. And whilst you were speaking, it was just this came to mind because there are some, like for instance, there are people that start off, okay, I want to go to a particular university, I want to go to, like you mentioned, Yaba Tech, but things happen along the line. Maybe they don't have the finances to actually go into school, like they want to go into school. The finances are not there, so they can't even afford to go into school. So for the meantime, you also mentioned the training institute. Now, I know that there are certain people that, certain young persons that actually go to all these that go to tailors. They learn they understudy the tailors, like you mentioned, apprenticeship. They understudy the tailors, and they grow from there, and they become owners of their own businesses, so to speak. How is it really necessary, or should I say, is it really compulsory that they must go to school, or they can also follow that route and not just go to a particular school?
Oh yes, it's they can go through the vocational training centers. I know Lagos State, for instance, provides free trainings for people who want to learn fashion designing and tailoring. They provide free, so there are different fashion houses that they partner with to provide these trainings. Yes, please, by all means, it's not compulsory because not everybody can afford it. And then maybe there's the jam factor waiting for results to come out. Yes, there are training centers that you can either pay for or get for free. In Lagos State, for instance, like I said, they provide these services for free. You just need to go to your local government area, your local government office, find out the nearest fashion or tailoring institute around you that offers the service, and go and register, or go to the Lagos State websites. They have the information there too. I'm not sure what applies in other states. I know for Lagos State. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Abdullahi. This is really very important for the students to actually get this information. So for those of you that are interested in this particular field, you can actually check the websites that Mrs. Abdullahi has mentioned. Now, Mrs. Abdullahi mentioned something very important when she was talking, and you mentioned this in the area of apprenticeship, and you said it's very vital, very important for people to actually work under a particular person, grow, develop your skills beyond just the training. There are certain things that you need to get on the job. And I remember you mentioned somebody using pink thread for a white dress. Some people don't think it is important, but it's very important. So, but this question goes to Ms. Ayodeji. What are the soft skills? What are those skills that students need on the job? Because this area we've been talking about, human services, you are directly working with people every day, different types of people, different ages, from different backgrounds. You are working with people consistently. So what kind of skills do you need for what kind of skills do you need to work in this particular area? What are those skills? Because there was a particular period whereby people were focused on, oh, you have to get a skill, you have to get a skill, you have to know a particular job, you have to learn a trade. And people were not focusing on the skills, because beyond having the understanding to do a particular trade, there's also the soft skill part, the way you work with people, the way you talk to people, how you manage people. All those areas are also important. So Ms. Ayodeji, can you just tell us the soft skills that are needed in when one wants to become an occupational therapist? Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, to be an occupational therapist is very, very important that you have good interpersonal skill. Like when I mean in good interpersonal skill, meaning that when you are speaking with a patient one-on-one, you try to understand, you try to listen, you try to even, so empathy is also very important. Try to put yourself try to put yourself in a patient's shoes, especially when you know that this patient, okay, is her husband that is funding her. Okay, even if I'm going to prescribe something, I need to also be considerate in whatever I am recommending for her to use and ensure that it's beneficial for her. But interpersonal skills you should be ready to listen. There are some people that will just come after you treat them, all they just want you to do is to listen. They're having a problem, and it's your work as a therapist to try to create a solution to that problem. So you have to have a good problem-solving skill. I can recall working with a patient, and she kept saying that she has challenge in handwriting. Handwriting is also one of the things I work into, because we write on a daily basis. So I'm interested in how my patient writes. I have a patient that has tremor, her hand shakes. So she finds it hard to handle biro. She finds it hard to write. So our major concern, the end goal, the goal of the therapy is our ability to write. So you have to sometimes put yourself in the position of a patient and think as well that, okay, how can I be of help to this patient? So empathy is very, very important. Interpersonal skill, know how to discuss with a patient, know how to relate with your patient. There's something we call therapeutic use of self. So you should be ready to use yourself sometimes in therapy, especially when you are dealing with pediatric patients. When it comes to handling them, you have to know how to use yourself to manage that patient. And also very important is your communication skill. You have to be very verbal, because most times whenever you want your patient to do something, you have to instruct them in doing it. Okay, I want you to put your hand this way. Okay, I want you to undo this plate this way. So your verbal skill has to be on point. You have to be very audible and also be teachable and be able to teach your patient how to do some starting skill that you want the patient to do at that time. So I can remember working in a drug rehab center. I had to be very, very, very attentive to whatever my patients say, because whenever they say something, I have to go back and paraphrase what they say to make them understand that, yeah, I get what you're trying to say. So you have to be very attentive when you are speaking with your patient. So another skill you also know, I also talked about computer earlier time. So computer, so you have to know how to make use of your MS Word, your MS PowerPoint, because there are times that you might need that skill. Then there's something we call activity analysis. It's very, very important that when a patient comes, whatever activity or whatever the skill the patient needs, you should be able to analyze it. You should be able to know, okay, if this patient wants to be able to use the system, the visual aid is very important. Fingering, how is the patient able to finger? So there are some times that we analyze the activity. Then from the analysis of the activity, you treat your patient. You know that, okay, this is the way I'm targeting the issue. This is the way I'm targeting the problem. This is the way I'm targeting the impairment or whatever that seems as though it's limiting the person from doing the activity. So you have to be ready to analyze, and you have to be creative. I can remember treating a patient and I was like, okay, I want us to do something. And what's that? I want you to knit. Yeah, how did I learn knitting? Funny enough, I didn't learn knitting in school. I learned it from my sister. I learned how to knit. And that knitting, I see myself sometimes telling patient that you need to knit. And why is she knitting? She's knitting because she's trying to strengthen her finger to do something, to do an activity that will be much more purposeful and meaningful. So any activity I'm gearing into, the end point is this activity purposeful? Is it meaningful? There are patients that have issue with dressing skill. with dressing themselves, you have to think of an adaptive utensils. So, and also it's very, very important that you are someone that tries to go back to make reference to research. So you have to be a reader. I don't know if it's a soft skill, but you have to read, because of your reading does not end in school. You have to keep doing it day by day. Go back to research, try to know, okay, this issue, this complaint, how were they able to tackle it? So it's very important. And I want to ask a question from you. There was a question you asked other people, you didn't ask me. So I was wondering.
Oh, okay. Which question is that? So sorry.
And the question of the route to get to that end.
Oh, okay, okay.
Can I answer the question?
Tell us. Yes, you can.
Okay. The reason why I feel it's important I answer that question is the fact that I've come to realize, and from my experience, that the school I finished from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. And when my admission for it was visiting medical rehabilitation. So in part 2, I had to choose between physio and occupational therapy. But such you don't have in other universities. Like Unilag only gives you physiotherapy. Other school gives you physiotherapy. For right now, it's only OAU that offers Bachelor of Medical Rehabilitation in Occupational Therapy. And it's a 5-year course. Then after you do the course for 5 years, you will be given the opportunity to do what we call internship. In internship, you have the opportunity to go into different specialty, go into orthopedics and PLS, geriatry, that's the care of the elderly, pediatrics, that's the care of children, mental health, that's why you see some people with mental health condition. So you have opportunity to go to different variety, different specialty. So from there, you know, okay, this is my interest. This is what I want to focus on. Then after that, your NYSC 1 year. Then after, and apart from, we have a licensing board. Even while you are done with school, they'll give you a provisional license. After your internship, is your provisional license you use for your internship. After you are done with internship, you'll be issued a permanent license. So that's you got a licensed occupational therapy. So the Medical Rehabilitation Therapists Board of Nigeria is one that regulates occupational physiotherapy, speech and language therapy, prosthesis and orthosis. There's also a specialty in prosthesis and orthosis that some people are interested in that. And please, I want to please say something again. Another route, I will try to fast with it. Another route is if you are not able to go directly through the university, you can also offer diploma course. I know of Federal School of Occupational Therapy, that's at Oshodi. Then I know of School of Occupational Therapy, that's at Benin in Edo State. So you can go through that route, but they'll give you diploma in occupational therapy, which will qualify you to be an OTA. From there, you can get a direct entry to Obafemi Awolowo University. So you just enter into Part 2, then you end it in Part 5. Although I also know of people that after they are done in FSOT, that's the Federal School of Occupational Therapy, they do a direct entry to a university in India. One is called Manipal, one is called SRM. But one thing I want us to note is that before you go into any school, especially if you want to do occupational therapy, you have to be sure that they're actually doing occupational therapy, not physiotherapy. So that's just what I want to say.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sadeji. I'm sure the students will appreciate this breakdown of what they need to do, because I know that they are different. You have students that go into universities to study medicine or pharmacy, and they don't meet up with the requirements to actually do that. So this is actually also another area they can actually look at. This is something that they can research to find out if it's something that they can do. And you've also given us the different routes that they can take to actually get there. Thank you so much. I'll go to ask Mrs. Adedoyin. Mrs. Adedoyin, what are the soft skills that you require as a wellness therapist, as a beauty consultant? What are the soft skills? What are those things that the students need to have? What do they need? What are those things that they require on the job, basically? Thank you.
Basically, morals. Thank you. Apart from the academic competence that is required for competence in the beauty industry, apart from that, it's it now boils down to personality profile. The personality profile of the individual that is coming into the industry. A beauty therapist must be temperate, must be patient, must be articulate, okay, must have empathy, must be able to empathize, So good upbringing is it's a very strong prerequisite. Parameter for communication. I mean, parameter for. I'm referring to a parameter for qualification. Okay.
Could you please explain what you mean by good upbringing?
Because are you still listening to me, or you have interrupted?
Yes, no. I'm listening, but you mentioned good upbringing, so I just wanted you to explain what you mean by good upbringing in this particular context.
In the particular context. Okay, for instance, to exchange pleasantry, good ethics, for instance, in communication will help. Okay, a child that is respectful, that understands the place of respect, mutual respect and understanding among peers, a child who has been brought up to understand the effect of non-verbal communication, for instance. Okay, because today's youth, what is very common with them is, have you seen what I've done? Non-verbal. Hey, they don't. Not that they don't care, but they just are not trained to understand the place of gesture in communication. Okay, and that is important. The reason why a client may not patronize somewhere before, I mean, a particular therapist, maybe because of her rude posture, So that's what I mean. So when you say upbringing is very, very wide. Okay, but I will not want to. It's not expedient, for instance, to teach my students on the importance of hygiene. So he ought to have been, taught on the importance of hygiene before coming into the industry. Okay, the importance of taking care of herself, especially the inner parts. Okay, so some of those things, some of those will help. It's very wide. It's very wide. Normal home, normal domestic, usual normal domestic upbringing that the child needs to have before coming into it is important. It will help the child in the industry. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mrs. Adedoyin. I would like to ask Mrs. Abdullahi, it would be the same question. What are those soft skills that are required on the job? Because for a fashion house, I'm sure you interact with so many clients. You interact not just with your clients, you interact with your workers. There's so many people that you have to talk to. You're in contact with people on a daily basis. So what are those soft skills that the students need to have to come into this particular area? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So very quickly, I would say it's important to be polite at all times. It's important to be patient. You have to be extremely patient. You're dealing with all groups of people from all lives. You're probably dealing with high net worth individuals, regular people, so you must be patient. You must have listening skills. It's extremely important. You might have someone walking and is not pleased with something that you have done and very upset. Whilst you know that it can be easily fixed, you don't also want to put it in the face of that person that, what's the big deal? I can do this very quickly. You also want to be empathetic to the person. You want to be kind with your words, especially when you're working with tailors. You have to be kind with your words because, we're all from different upbringing. We're all from different upbringing backgrounds. And so what they may not know. The kind of exposure that you have, they may not have. So you have to be very kind, you have to be extremely patient and kind with your words.
Okay, thank you so much. For the students listening in, I want you to realize that this is very important, this area of the soft skills that you need on the job, because it's not about just getting the skills, having the knowledge of the job, but it's also your attitude on the job. And I know that most millennials are not really focused on their attitudes. They're not really working on the kind of attitudes that they exhibit. They're not really bothered. That's, I don't care. I'm brilliant. I'm intelligent. I know this work. Nobody can tell me what to do and all of that. But these are things that are very, very vital and very, very important for each and every one of you to actually exhibit. Your attitude matters, the way you relate with people, the way you talk to people, the way you listen. And like Mrs. Adedoyin said, even your non-verbal communication, how you look, your posture, all of that is actually very important. They are important on the job skills that you must have. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I want to ask, are there any challenges? What challenges do you face in this particular profession, and what are the challenges that the students can actually face in this particular profession? So I'll start with Mrs. Abdullahi, because she's the person I spoke with. Thank you.
There are so many challenges, but I mean, even as a Nigerian, there's so many challenges. There's so many, but in
very long list.
very long list. You're right, ma. But you know, with everything, you must always find the good, especially when you have the passion to want to offer this service, to live this lifestyle that you have chosen for yourself. You must always look for the good in everything. What are the challenges? There's the bit that government does not really support you. You don't know the exact taxes to pay. You don't know what local government is coming today or tomorrow. So for me, what I do is I try to get familiar with so what I did when I first got my store, I tried to get familiar with the nearest local government to know what taxes is due to me. Thank God for the Lagos state governments. There are information on the websites that help you understand what taxes you're to pay, you know, the processes to hiring local staff, and you know, very affordable health. So yes, there are challenges, but yes, there are ways about it. And if you're um, teachable, you would have people who will help you as you move on. Ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions. I always tell people, I mean, my peers, subordinates, superiors, nothing is too ridiculous to ask. No matter how stupid it sounds, please ask it, because you do not know and you need to know, and it's supposed to help you get to where you're going to. So always ask questions. I mean, I do not want to specifically dwelling on the challenges is because I do not want anyone to go back and say, there are too many challenges. I want you to understand that whilst there are challenges, there are ways of going and straightforward ways about addressing every challenge as they come. Is it staffing? Lagos State has made it very easy. They're training people in different vocational centers for free. And then once they have graduated, they put them in they put them in the job market. They offer them to fashion houses. You can just go and then click on the employee bits of on that website, and you'll see people there. You'll see people who live in, maybe you live in Surulere, Yaba, VI, wherever it is that you live, your shop or your store is, you'll find people of different professions, the kind of taxes that you're supposed to pay. And then you find other people who do the kind of business that you do, that you can interact with. Thank God for social media, who can, you know, mentor you online. Very taken that all of these challenges, they're not abnormal. They are things that can be worked upon.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think I've lost
Thank you.
Mrs. Abdullahi. Okay, thank you. Yes, Miss Ayodeji, what are the challenges in your area of profession? As in, what are those things that the children need to know? Thank you. You are muted. Ayodeji, you are muted.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma. Okay, there are lots of challenges. I can remember when I was discussing, we had that discussion in my with my folks, like my senior colleague. We were talking about that there's challenges in the profession. Well, someone said a particular word, that there's no profession that does not have its own challenge. Doctor will say their own, that's why they go on strike. So every profession has one challenge or the other. No, it's the truth now. Every profession has one challenge or the other. But anyhow, so challenges and doing a lot of I feel one of the challenge we have in OT for me, that's my own personal take. We need to do more research work, more research work. I believe research work is very important. It's not like there are no research work, but I just believe nationally in Nigeria and even international, we need to do more research work. Even me, I'm also talking to myself, I need to do more research work. Because I can remember having this discussion with somebody where I say, the more research work a profession do, the more global relevance, or worldwide relevance the profession gets. So more research work. So it's very, very important that we need to do, because they are not, I believe if we do much more, we will get more results. The another thing is that I've come to understand the fact that some people, they stop at diploma level. In Nigeria, I don't know about other country, but in Nigeria, where I am right now, I noticed that we have more diploma holder than BSc holder, and that will not make the profession good to me. If you're having more people that are getting diploma, when I mean diploma, I mean OTA, more OTA than more occupational therapists, in a way, it's make our relevance a bit low. I feel it's something that I cannot do on my own, but I believe that if more university give people the opportunity to obtain BMR in OT, is really going to help in the level of occupational therapy, the number of occupational therapists we have in Nigeria. Because I can remember the last time I was chatting with a senior colleague of mine, was like, it's abroad. Everybody's running abroad. Me too, I also run abroad. So everybody's running over there because there are more opportunities there, and and OT has a lot of relevance there. So that's why most people are running. But me too, if I have the opportunity, I will run.
But if you all run, who will not help us in Nigeria?
Thank you. But I'm just telling you my own. I'm just but you know, if they pay me more, they'll run. If I should tell my parents that I got a job vacancy there and they say I should be coming, we don't say I should stay in Nigeria. No, they will say, oh yeah, why should we do? So I will go. So I'm just telling you what's going on over here. That's why I talked about, when I talked about people obtaining diploma in OT, I try to emphasize the fact that they can always get direct entry into certain schools to have their BMR in OT. Presently, we don't have a university that is giving us MSc in OT, which is not too good. So if I want to do my MSc, I should go abroad. That's it. If I want to do my PhD, I'll go abroad. So if I have opportunity, I'll go over there. But what I'm just trying to say is the fact that we have more OTA than OT. And to me, in a way, it's a challenge for the profession to grow. That's it, because this profession is growing. It's a great profession, but I don't believe we could do much more. So advocacy for the job, what made me to come here? What made me to join in this talk? I see it as an opportunity to talk about my profession, to advocate and encourage people to go into the profession. So we need more people to do that, to advocate. And I want to use this opportunity to also thank the convener of Save a Child, Save a Nation for making it, for this platform to add this talk to this young man. I really, really appreciate it. So I just want to use the opportunity to thank you for this time. And also another thing that I think is a challenge is less work opportunity. Over there's more opportunity. There's more opportunity. So if you have more channel as an occupational therapist to do what you know how to do well, it's really going to help this profession. But with all and all, we always find a way around it. That's just it. We find that, at least I can see myself, I'm working somewhere. I'm working in a rehab center presently. So I'm offering my service here. So one way or the other, we find a way around it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adeji. Okay, Mr. Adedoyin, from Mrs. Abdullahi and from Mr. Adeji, I can see that, in fact, if we start to list the challenges, we won't leave here this morning. But what are those pertinent things that they need to be aware of, ma'am?
Okay. For the first time at this webinar, am I right to say this is a webinar?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
For the first time For the first time at this webinar, I'm grateful for being the last person to be called because having the opportunity of to everybody. Okay. Now, there is a slogan that we have at Learning Beauty Institute. We say that Learning Beauty Institute is powerful enough to surmount every challenges that is before her now and in the future. Okay, and by direct relation, we say that you, alumni of Learning Beauty Institute, you are also powerful enough to surmount every challenges that is before you, because the curriculum of the training and all the components of the training, both extracurricular and the core training content, okay, it is intended to empower you not only for now but for later, okay. And permit me to express another side of me that is here, because I'm a child of God. I'm a pastor by God's grace. The Bible says in 1 Timothy, I think 1 Timothy 4, it says that godliness is profitable unto all things. Okay, it says that the physical training that we have, that's using it in my own word now, the physical training that we have, it has its own value, but that godliness, has value that is very broad. Everything that poses as a challenge in my industry, okay, centers around ungodliness. Centered around ungodliness. Integrity is a content of godliness. Okay. Study, seeking is content of godliness. Okay. Self-motivation is the content of godliness and all of that. Even self-awareness, all of it is the content of godliness. So I zero all the challenges that confronts the industry, whether internal or external. If I say internal, I'm referring to the beauty professional now. If I say external, I'm referring to as it affects, the social challenges. For instance, we're at post-COVID now, and everything suddenly changed. Everything changed. The way you do hairdressing changed. The way you do facial therapy changed. So if you have learned health and safety, okay, and beauty science, if you had not shown, yourself off it, caused by laziness or presumption, that what is that knowledge is related, I don't need it to style hair. Then here you are, COVID has come. Okay, COVID has come, that has made health and safety compulsory. So health and safety that they are teaching now is what you have been taught, okay, if you are trained properly. So why will you not now assimilate that? Ungodliness. It's ungodliness. It's a background that is formed via ungodliness. Okay, if we have settled in Christ, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for what I'm saying, if you are settled, if you are settled in Christ, do you understand? All these challenges will have been ahead. You understand? Will have been ahead of us. Okay. Well, how will I, for instance, attend to a client who has been paying me premium, all of a sudden is asking for credit? Am I making sense? So wisdom come to play. Okay, wisdom come to play. Okay.
Yes,
why will
someone? So sorry, ma'am. If I may interrupt, we have less than a minute. We just have a minute left to round up this session.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As a roundup, for instance, I've zeroed everything to godliness and ungodliness. The challenge is that I have discovered from experience and those that I train is that you do not have the foundation of God. Okay, so we bring that in ab initio.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to Mrs. Adedoyin, Ms. Ayodeji, and Mrs. Abdullahi Ewebi. Thank you so much.
My
And
young madam,
Dr.
don't leave
Mustafa
Nigeria, oh, my young madam.
and Dr. Mustafa, he had some network challenges, so that's why he's not with us at this moment. But thank you so much. I'm sure the children have learned so much. And they're also, in fact, for me, it's been an enlightening session because areas that we don't usually focus on, the kind of occupations that we don't even think about, we have been opened up to it and we have more understanding about the path, to
Can
tread.
you
So
please
thank
let
you
us hear
so much.
Mrs. Abdul? Please, can we hear Mrs. Abdul? I beg.
Okay,
I'm
Mrs.
not
Abdul,
taking
in 2 seconds, because we just have 10 seconds
Sorry.
left.
But for the students, please do not plan to leave Nigeria. We are the ones who will create those opportunities that we do not have. It's important. Why we were not born in Nigeria by mistake. It is extremely important. I will tell you for free that I have the opportunity to be a citizen elsewhere, but I will not go. I will sit here and build those opportunities. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll be leaving the breakout room now, and we'll be going back to the main session. Thank you, everyone.
Sister Taiwo, thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you
so much.
You're welcome.
There's nothing happening there.
Okay, I can see everyone is coming back.
We didn't want to leave, actually.
We were having, so we had a little glitch with our recording. So I had to stay in the human services group, and it was really, really enlightening. From my main group, usually I would hop into one, hop into the next and stuff, but I had to stay in human services to record, and it was quite enlightening. Thank you. Is everyone coming in now? Okay.
Yes, we're here. I'm here.
Okay, everyone is back. Oh, thank you so much. It has been an awesome time this morning. I'd like to thank the anchors, Monday Doziem and Taiwo Onobolu. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all my speakers. It's been so awesome. Thank you for taking out time to share knowledge with us. And like I was listening to Taiwo in the other session, she said it has been enlightening for her. When I said she should anchor the human services, she said, "Why human services?" And I said, "Well, you can do it. Just do it." And she has learned something. She has learned a lot of new stuff. So, and the whole point really was to open our children's eyes to see other things. So when Sarah Yodeji was talking about medical rehabilitation, you find that children want to study medicine. They only think of medicine. They don't know of other areas, other medical areas that they can think about. So I was really, really happy when I was able to get her. And funny enough, I saw WellPath Physiotherapy. I watched them on TV. It was the boss was on TV on a program I watch on TVC, and I stored the number, sent a message, and they sent Sarah to represent. So, and when she said, I thought it was just physiotherapy until they said, oh, we also have an occupational therapist. I'm like, oh, what's the difference? What do you do? But I've learned something, so I'm really, really glad. I'm really glad. Unfortunately, I couldn't really hear anything. As I said, I wasn't in the hospitality group, so I didn't really hear anything going on there. But I'm sure you've learned a lot there, and we've recorded the sessions, so I'll put them on YouTube, and obviously we'll share them far and wide as well. So more young people will get to listen, more young people will get to learn. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Students, after this session, we're having at 12 o'clock, we're having the law, public safety and corrections. In that section, we'll have a police officer, we'll have a retired judge, and this morning I was just able to get a fireman or firewoman, as the case may be. So that's what we have in store at 12. And at 3 o'clock, we have transportation. Um, we have only one speaker in transportation, and that is Mr. Fola Tinubu of Primero. Is, if you know, the BRT buses, so he's the one that runs the organization of the BRT buses, and he'll be on this afternoon. So I'd like to thank you once again. From the students, would you unmute your mics now and say thank you to everyone? Say thank you to the speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you've learned something new.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'd like to
You're
call it
welcome.
a day. Thank you. I'm my head is like this big now. But thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a
Well,
lovely day.
and the moderators. Well done.
Bye.
Pineapple.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cool.
Bye.
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 Auntie Taiwo.
Juju.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Fumi, well done.
Thank you, ma.
Well done.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Now.
ma. Ẹ ṣé gan, ma. Okay, so I'll end the class now.
Okay, we can leave.